So how do you actually create an assessment, right? Well, just kind of going back to your HMH dashboard, you go to Discover, My Stuff. When you click on My Stuff, you go to the side item that says My Assessments. And what you do then is you hit the Create button. Now, I'm making an assessment for Brave Little Toaster, which happens to be the first story of the year. I may or may not actually assign this because I'm really just showing you how to set this up. But we'll just call it Brave Little Toaster form. I'm going to call it Form A. Reading and Language Arts. This is a test, or sorry, a quiz. And then I hit Create. Now, what this allows you to do at this point then is they ask you to like add items or something like that. Now, where do you add items from? Well, particularly you click on Add Items, and it's going to ask you where you want to get your stuff. And when I clicked on that, notice the table of contents changed over to the unit. So I'm on HMH items. I'm in 8th grade. I click on the 8th grade one. The first unit is gadgets and glitches. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And they have the editable test, which we don't want. And we're going to actually take this unit test and we're going to take it and we're going to open it up. Now, it gives you all of the questions from that unit test if you wanted to do it, which actually I don't want it. I'm actually not going to add those. I'm actually going to go back to lesson 1 here where it says Brave Little Toaster selection test and editable selection test. I'm going to pick Brave Little Toaster selection test. So what this does is basically it tells you the questions that are going to be asked. So the first question will be like, which statement best describes Mr. Toussaint's conflict? If you want to make sure that it is a cogent question, you just click on this show answer and it'll show like the text that you're teaching from, and then it'll show you the question. It'll actually show you which is the correct answer. Now notice like the aspect ratio causes this to be kind of narrow, but you can actually see whether or not the question is one that you agree with. If you like the question, you click add. If you don't like the question, you just don't add it. So, which conclusion can be drawn about the setting of the story, knowing that it belongs in the science fiction genre? So you just click show answer, and what you can do is you can check these answers. If you look at that and you say, I don't like this question, you don't have to pick it. The other one then is, so I'm just not going to pick that one as an example. Select 2 details from the story that convey that the brave little toaster belongs. So let's see what it's one of these check the 2 that apply questions, which is actually really great practice for the iLearn. So what you'll do is you just check to see if you agree with these answers, which I think it's a very good structured question. And so I'm going to go ahead and add that question. There's a comma splice. Well, not going to be, that's never going to be on the iLearn test, especially written like that. So I'm not going to add that question. Oh, read the following run-on sentence. Okay. Now, once again, revise this. I'm not adding that question. So next one says, select the 2 quotations from paragraph 8 through 15 that help the reader understand the meaning of the word chafe in paragraph 16. Now, I look at this one, and this is one of those really good vocabulary, figuring out what a word means in context type of question. So what the students actually have to do is use the actual textual evidence to support the meaning of the word there. That's one of those tricky questions that you'll see on iLearn. So that's something that I would actually add to the test. What does computation mean in paragraph 31? So if I look at this and I agree with the question, because it's another one of those figure out what the word means based upon its context, you just hit add. What can be inferred about most science fiction stories? I don't know that I would put that on this particular quiz, but you can. How does Mr. Toussaint's attitude toward the toaster evolve? Which, once again, I looked at this and have read this story. But at the end of the day, that's the best answer for it. This question is 2 parts, part A, part B. A lot of these part A, part B questions are really good. Which statement best describes the theme of the story? You always want to have a theme question if you can get one. And then the part B is the evidence used to support it. I'm going to add that question. So now that I've added the questions that I like and I've skipped the ones that I don't want to use, I just hit save and done. And now what I can do at this point is it'll be saved under my stuff. In fact, if I go to my stuff, my assessments, you'll see Brave Little Toaster Form A. If I click on it, I can go ahead and assign it. And what I can do at this point is add any directions. I can choose which classes I'm going to administer it to. If you have different leveled classes and you have a test that's more rigorous for advanced readers in that particular class versus another, you can actually have two different tests and assign one class one test and then make another one for a different group. Or you can do even groups that way, differentiated grouping if you wanted to do that. But in either case, that's how you assign it. And then once you pick a class, this grayed out button down here actually turns blue, and then you can click assign. So that is how you can actually assess students using. So you can create a test based upon the ones they've already created, and you can give the due dates, the start time, the end time, and all that kind of information right here. And you're good to go, and you'd be able to hit assign. I'm going to hit cancel because I don't have any classes right now because it's July. So hope this was informative.